MLS Aces Podcast. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. We are back for episode 346. Jason Vivang. Jason, energy low, spirits high. USMNT got a win.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the best time to talk about them because we're coming off of a win yesterday. That's what's fresh on my mind. Nothing else is on my mind. Nothing else.
Yes, let's try to stick it. Let's try to keep it that way.
It's going to be tough.
Well, I figured, look, let's ease on into the USMNT conversation. Let's not jump to it immediately. I think we can probably quickly wrap up the Leagues Cup stuff that we didn't get to talk about on the episode we missed last week. Don't have to dive super deep on it. I don't think you and I are going to say anything that nobody else has said in the soccer U.S. soccer world around the Sounders win, the fighting after the game, and everything else. But I think it's probably fair we get a few of our thoughts out of our brains onto these microphones and keep it moving. But does that sound okay?
Yeah,
I just want to make sure. I'm just at this point.
I enjoyed that day. I really enjoyed watching those two games. I'll say that.
No, it was a good day. I was at my nephew's birthday party, so I was watching it in a crowd of people, but it was a good day nonetheless. But let's dive into the Seattle Sounders defeated Inter Miami in the Leagues Cup Final 3-0 to obviously win Leagues Cup, secure their spot. Well, they already had the spot in Champions Cup, but a more definitive spot, I guess, in that sense. And then obviously, do the deed that I think many people around U.S. soccer social media were hoping that the homegrown Sounders and the club that does it the right way takes down the evil enterprise of Inter Miami. But it was a showcase performance for Alex Roldan, right? He scored the PK. He assisted on both of the other goals to Osaze de Rosario and Paul Rothrock. Fantastic defensive showing from Obed Vargas, Ymar, Jackson Reagan, the classic crew that kind of just holds down the center of the field for the Seattle Sounders. And they really just stopped everything that Lionel Messi and there was moments for Inter Miami, but they're going to have their moments, but they stopped many of the things that Messi and this Miami attack does. Jason, did the Seattle Sounders in your brain cement that legacy even more of one of the best, if not the best MLS club out there?
Yeah, I mean, the best is definitely a debate, probably for a full pod in the off season or something, because that's a decent amount of research I'd probably like to be able to do. But I don't see how they're not in that conversation. Like at this point, even before this, even if they had lost this, I still think I would have said they're in the conversation as one of the best organizations in MLS.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that they've obviously won every trophy that they've, that's available for an MLS team to win. I mean,
quick point on that. Very funny that it's not technically true. They haven't won Campeones Cup, so damn. The one-off friendly against the former league.
I mean, yeah, they also haven't won the Club World Cup. Technically, that's available for MLS.
True. Sorry. So get the Club World Cup, Sounders, then you're the best, okay?
Well, yeah, then I think everyone would agree that.
Sorry, I ruined your point there, but
either way, no, that's fine. You can do your little semantics or whatever. My point is, whatever, man. Now I'm all frazzled. Obviously, like Seattle came into this game. There's nothing that you said that I don't just want to repeat. So like, just a really good team performance. I'd like to shout out Osaze de Rosario because like what an effort to just step in and put in that kind of performance. Alex Roldan from the very beginning was so good. Obed Vargas was an absolute terror. Like that was one of the better midfield performances I've seen out of a MLS player in a long time.
I mean, dude,
frustrated Messi at every single second.
I was gonna say he handled Messi pretty well for a good majority of that game for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, there's the one like pretty rough miss from Messi. There's a couple like chances that Miami had, which Miami's going to get, and luckily, Messi put it over the bar, which is probably something that is not going to happens once out of 100 tries. But that maybe part of that was because he had been at that point so well defended. He maybe didn't expect to be in that position at that point. I don't know. I mean, it's Messi at this point. Like, I don't doubt anything about him.
You remember in the off season or the beginning of the season when I completely forgot what the name of that MLS like behind the scenes show was?
You're telling me to remember something you forgot from the beginning of the year?
It was the Apple TV product that they put out like.
Yeah. They put one out for every team, right?
It was for like it was similar to the F1 series. They did it like
Pat Noonan was on it.
Greg Vanny was on it, and in that one of the clips that Greg Vanny said on that started circulating, and then they were showing highlights from the game of Obed Vargas where Vanny was like, when Messi passes the ball, don't fucking follow the ball, follow Messi because that's where it's going. And then it was the next clip of Obed Vargas in this game. Messi passed the ball and Vargas just turned and tracked Messi. It was literally like Obed Vargas, obviously, different coaches, different teams here, but Obed Vargas took that clip seriously.
It was kind of like a little bit of a CONCACAF performance, and I mean that in a good way, where they just took Messi and said, we're just going to kind of like kick you every single time you get the ball. And obviously, like, a lot of it got, like, it was typically just regular fouls. Nothing I would say was, like, over the top, yellow card, red card worthy. But, like, they definitely were making their presence felt. Both Jackson Reagan and Obed Vargas were obviously, like, the two main ones. But, like, there was nowhere Messi was on the field without at least 1-2 Seattle players ready to be there within a second of him getting the ball.
And they weren't doing the Orlando City thing that you called that last podcast, where it was just a mob of purple jerseys.
Well, the Orlando City thing was reactionary. This was planned. You can tell the Seattle way would do it was planned. With Orlando City, I mean, that I wish I remembered the minute so people could go back and actually watch it. But like Messi cuts across the 18-yard box, and it's like first guy he passes starts trailing, second guy he passes starts trailing, third guy he passes starts trailing, guy from across the field comes in to try and cut off. There's like 5-6 players at one point that are all focused clearly on him and just have no idea what else is going on. Like, I know we don't break things down super tactically most of the time, but like that was so like anyone could have seen how crazy that was. Like
I don't disagree.
Like a black hole was just like sucking them all in, and it was just Messi running across the 18-yard.
Oscar Pareja ran across the field at one point.
Yeah. Pedro Gaese was like way out there.
But no, look, this Sounders team. I mean, look, outside of the unbelievable performance that they put in for 90 minutes of that game, they did it through a lot of adversity. I mean, like Jordan Morris, Rusnak, Joao Paulo, Ryan Kent, Paul Arriola, all injured in this game. Nuhu was out with a suspension, right? Like they did it missing a lot of guys, and I think it just goes to show you how good of an organization this is at developing talent, how good they bring players through Tacoma from the academy.
Well, and it's what they said. Didn't they say that at the beginning of the season? Like we're always going to have sort of like that attitude where whoever's ready needs to be ready. Or I don't know.
If you're on the roster, you need to be ready to play, pretty much.
I mean, I think Brian Schmetzer is at this point like, I don't know. Like that's another conversation to have. Like this man's Mount Rushmore or something.
I was gonna say let's put a pin in it for the off season. I will just say with zero true looking into it until we do this episode and this full conversation, I'm gonna go top 3 manager in MLS history.
Yeah, I think like the way I was thinking about it is like if I had one game and I needed like a manager I really could trust, he's definitely like on my list, and there's not many.
I would go Bruce. I would go Siggy, Brian Schmetzer, and it's funny enough, 2 of them coached the Seattle Sounders.
In that order, or you're just saying like top 3?
No, like not necessarily that order, but I'm saying like if I'm talking.
I mean, I feel like Bob Bradley gets a shout, maybe.
Yeah, that's
for
fair.
What he's done at multiple.
Probably Peter Vermees. I would throw
Peter Vermees.
but
Burton.
I don't know if Curtin's up in that
He's
category.
probably not in that category, but for his longevity and what he's done.
Yeah, Jim Curtin top 10.
If Wilfred Nancy's on his way, if he stays long enough.
It's about the longevity in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. So
whatever. That was just a fun conversation for later.
Ultimately, congratulations to the Seattle Sounders. Well deserved, as from Schmetzer to the players to the staff and all the way down. Obviously, after the game, Inter Miami likes to ruin the party. A complete meltdown, fights across the field. Sergio Busquets throwing punches. Weigand and Tomas Aviles were like grabbing Seattle players by the heads, and then obviously all of us have seen the social media video now. Luis Suarez spitting on the Sounders security team member, I'm pretty sure. Shout out to that security team member, though. He made a joke after, and he was like, I was just waiting for the bite. And, like, that's kind of funny. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a ton. But Leagues Cup came down. They announced their suspension. So this is just suspensions for Leagues Cup competition games. Suarez, 6 games. Busquets, 2. Aviles, 3. Steven Lenhart, obviously an MLS legend, but Sounders staff member, is suspended 5 games. And all 4 of these individuals were also fined. And then Major League Soccer announced additional suspensions. Suarez will miss 3 MLS games. So that's a game against Charlotte, Seattle, funny enough, and DC United. Lenhart has had his credentials, privileges revoked for the rest of the 2025 MLS season from, being, I guess, on the sideline for the Seattle Sounders. And the Sounders were also fined for misappropriation of credentials. I'm assuming it was kind of like you added a guy on the sideline who was like throwing a punch, and that's probably shame on you.
I don't know which Seattle's member was doing that, so I can't really speak on that part. But
it was Lenhart. He was trying
to. Well, no, I'm sure they got it right, but it's not like I know what he looks like.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, look, you and I, Lenhart's a little too old of an MLS player for you and I, which is kind of gross to say because we're pretty much grew up with the same age of the league. But he was in like the OG, like kind of class of.
I do have one more thing about the game itself, but we can come back to that after the suspension.
Yeah. No, I was just going to simply say it's gross from Inter Miami.
I mean, the opinion I have is like the Leagues Cup suspensions are kind of useless because they've already talked about not having a Leagues Cup next year, right? Because of the World
especially
Cup.
For Busquets, who everyone's hinting at heavily he's going to retire. So it's like
I would say with Suarez too. If they don't have a Leagues Cup next year, it's a waste. Like you've suspended nothing. I was surprised Busquets didn't get an MLS suspension.
Me too.
I mean, obviously, I don't know if he would get the same amount. Maybe he gets 1 game. Like, I don't know. There was a lot that went on there that was super sketchy and really, really poor look for the league, and honestly really reflects poorly on Miami. But
I'm not trying to not talk about it because it's like not important, but again,
there's just not a lot like I can add.
It's gross. Miami probably should have had a few more suspensions across the board. I agree with the Busquets one into MLS play, but it is what it is at this point. And again, millions of people have talked about it already, so I'm not trying to dive into a 20-minute combo about it. But what did you want to say?
The last thing I wanted to say was it was so satisfying that the Seattle put that whole thing out where it was like if you have a Messi jersey and you want to exchange it for a Rothrock jersey, you can do so for free. And then Paul Rothrock got that goal, and it was like I think that might be the best moment of the game. Like at that point, they had already won.
Yeah.
It just was like so satisfying. It was a great finish too, and a good run, good pass. Like it just felt really. I'm showing too much bias that I wanted Seattle to win this game, but like that actually just was like such a good moment.
Paulie primetime, baby. I mean, look, I think the thing that made the win special for the Sounders, right, was like just it was the homegrown stories of it all. Alex Roldan, a drafted player, he was I think he was like a winger or a striker when he got drafted, converted to right back. I can remember us with Sam talking on the podcast about, I think it was Columbus, Seattle MLS Cup. And I think I specifically said, like, it's a mistake if you start Alex Roldan.
I remember like the first few times I saw Alex Roldan, and I was like, I didn't even know there was a brother.
Yeah, and now he is one of the best, if not the best, at his position in the league. Had a dominant game.
Yeah.
Obed Vargas, Paulie Primetime, the Seattle kid with the goal. Georgie Manungu. I mean, this is a guy who's blind in one eye and is doing this type of shit. And now he got a national team call up, and it's unbelievable what the Seattle Sounders do, how they pull players through, and how they get the most out of players. We've said it 100 times. I don't need to keep saying it. It's just it really is special.
We didn't even. I'm sure we'll probably talk about Christian Roldan as well at some point this episode, but we didn't even mention him, and he's just like, I don't know why, but seeing him like after the game, just happy, and it struck a little bit for me.
Well, shout out to friend of the pod, Michele Giannone. He was saying that Christian Roldan, and I don't know if this was a joke or not, but I really hope it's not, because I kind of am starting to believe it. He was saying Christian Roldan is the best central midfielder in the continent, and I'm here for it. I'm here for
at current.
A current best central midfielder in the continent. Again, don't know if it was a joke.
In the continent, like playing in the continent, or from the continent?
Currently playing between Liga MX, MLS, and I guess the Canadian Premier League. But yes, I'm here for it.
I love Christian Roldan, so you're not going to hear too much argument from me.
And just to quickly talk about the third place game, the LA Galaxy, I predicted it right. Oh, first of all, I predicted Leeds up. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it took you this long? We're 16 minutes in?
Didn't think about it. LA Galaxy, I also predicted this one, right? Defeated Orlando City in the third place game. Period, to secure a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot in 2026. A 2-1 win at home. Marco Reus early goal. Martino Heda tied it up in the 60th, and then Joseph Paintsill scoring the game winner in the 67th. The LA Galaxy will be in continental play next year with I'm assumingly Ricky Pooch in the middle of all of that. So this is a win for the LA Galaxy season. For what it has been, it's a win. We talked about it last episode. I don't need to diatribe about it.
I mean, it's awesome for them. I was disappointed in the performance that Orlando put up in that game.
Yeah, it was half-assed. Isn't.
No, I think that's actually pretty accurate. Like, obviously they got that goal, but it was like they chose when they were trying full. Like, at least that's what it felt like, is they were choosing when they.
It didn't seem like the same Orlando team that we saw square off against Miami the week before.
No. Yeah, it was like they didn't get up as much for this one. Maybe that's because the Galaxy having such a bad season, they thought they may just walk through it. I don't know why.
I mean, also probably a lot
for where Orlando is at, and the talent that I personally believe in, I was disappointed.
I mean, I didn't think about this until right now, and I don't know if this plays that much of a factor, but you're talking a month ago, midweek travel to LA, fly home Orlando, then midweek Miami, then I think they were then away, then fly back to LA. Like,
yeah,
Orlando City put a lot of miles on the legs, and not even in terms of games played, but just in terms of travel back and forth across the country.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think it's definitely a fair point.
All right, let's talk about the other Roldan, the Christian Roldan of the world, and the USMNT. He obviously was a late call up into this camp, and funny enough, the guy that gets the last call into the camp plays in both games, but whatever. We'll get into all of that. So there was 2 friendlies, South Korea and Japan. I'm just going to go chronologically because I think it makes the most sense here. But USMNT, they lose the first friendly against South Korea 2-0 at Sports Illustrated Stadium. I'm a New York City fan, right? I'm always going to call it Red Bull Arena, though. Sports Illustrated Stadium is just not how I
didn't even know they switched the name.
It was a whole thing, and it's probably because I live in the area, but it was a whole fucking thing in the off season. It was not a great first 45 or even great first 60 minutes from the USMNT. Human Son absolutely dismantled the USMNT in the first half. He got the first goal of the game in the 18th minute, then assisted on the 43rd minute goal to Don Key Lee. The U.S. in this game, I'm going to keep it not like dive into this game super specific just because there's a whole other game and a whole, I think, storyline past it to talk about. The U.S. in this game, like I said, not great for 60 minutes. I feel like they turned it on for the final 20 to 30, but at that point, it's an
That also coincided with some South Korean substitutes.
It's a friendly, you're down 2-0 already. Like, it's not the most dire situation for Korea to, like, ramp it up, but it got ugly after this game online, and I mean, I want you to get your opinions out there about it, but fair enough. I think fairly so. Things got ugly from the media, fans, and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just been trying to think about how to have this conversation without it being the same conversation.
Yeah, that we always
that
say.
We just say every single time, and every single time that the U.S. kind of falls short or puts in a performance that is just honestly just mediocre, like at best, like that's what you could call this. I think there was a lot of expectations with Pochettino. I personally, like, we're obviously not moving. Like, I've seen people like, we got to switch coaches.
No,
it's like,
most
realistically, no,
is the
because there's
manager
only
of the
there's probably arguably like one, maybe two people you could even go back to, which is probably Berhalter and maybe like Bruce Arena. Like, I don't know realistically who you could even switch to at this
bring
point.
in Nuno, right?
But that's like they couldn't do that. There's not enough time. Like, I do think that Pochettino has a plan. I think, and I think he said, even I'll paraphrase because I think I just read it, a couple days ago. But he said something along the lines of like, I'm seeing positive things. We're building to the final roster. Blah blah blah. Something like that.
I will just say I think there was something. It was, yes, you butchered the comment, but the comment there. That comment, I think, spiraled a lot of people because I don't think many people saw many positives from that game, and I don't think there were many positives from that game. So when he made the comment that the U.S. were the better team than Korea,
that one, that's not what I'm trying to paraphrase.
Well, no, you were saying that like he saw positives out of this game and positives out of player performance. Someone asked him like, did he like do you think the U.S. need to start winning like leading up into the World Cup? And he said something, again, I'm going to butcher the comment, something to the extent of like, we only need to win when the World Cup like is here. And it's like, nah, I also can't get behind that one.
I got his interview.
Give it to me.
So just a couple things. I think we need to be, well, he obviously said overall, I think we were better than South Korea.
Not true.
But he did add, if you're not clinical, if you're not in the opposition box, it's difficult, which, like, yeah, thanks, Poch.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
He said, I think we need to be positive. Second half, the team played well.
I
think this is a comment that maybe I was trying to highlight because I actually do somewhat agree. He said, I am so pleased in the way that we are evolving from the Gold Cup today, they didn't type this right, but it's from the Gold Cup to today with different players, but also the players start to understand what we expect from them. I feel like that's probably what he's seeing internally, though, which is a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's because you're obviously and we talked about it when Greg got fired, and the hiring of Pochettino took that much longer after. Pochettino has limited camps and limited time with these players, and yes, maybe he's seeing things get better the more he's spending time with the same players he wants to bring in. But then we can also dive into Pochettino's roster decisions and the different.
Well, and the quote you were referring to, he said, "We need to start to win when the World Cup starts."
Yeah, that's
too many examples of teams that win previously, 5 years and then arrive at the World Cup in bad condition. I think we have talented players going to be much better and arrive in the best condition. and be difficult to beat. That's basically his.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the quote, but it is what it is. But
some of those quotes are pretty bad. I think overall, though, like the fan, I don't know. I can't address like the online USMNT
no,
stuff
but I
because
think
it's just so reactionary too.
There's a lot of reactionary comments, yes, but I think I saw a lot of people that I respect in the U.S. soccer world also just kind of have the take of like, it was ugly. It's another ugly performance. What has gotten better? What are we seeing that's positive? And like really dissecting those comments. And I necessarily don't disagree with it. And again, we're going to talk about the Japan game, much different result, much different performance. But in looking back at it, right, obviously the Japan game's in my head. Maybe Pochettino was right about something. But at that moment that we're talking about.
Well, that's why I think like, if we have a 2-game camp, let's wait till after 2 games maybe to talk. I don't know.
No,
I also have I'm at fault of being reactionary at times, right? Like I watched that game and was like, this is depressing. And then we were texting, we were like, this, I'm not even excited for the Japan game. Like I don't know what to expect.
I wasn't.
Like I watched that game and then came out of it like we're so back, you know? Like I'm super reactionary. Obviously we're not back. That's more of a joke. But like
I don't know. I think you believe when you said that we're back. I was like, "Oh, Jason's."
No. I don't really think so. I really want to root for a good U.S. men's national team, and I'm going to convince myself and make myself happy with their performances. Okay, so I'm human. I would rather not relive that night that I had to go through when they played Trinidad. Like I think you probably know exactly where you were. I remember it perfectly. So like,
shout out Taylor Twellman for that night.
That was one of the highlights of that night. That probably was the highlight, honestly. I don't know. I think overall, I'm not like. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Also, there's been so many different players, and I don't know if you want to talk about lineups and stuff, but like,
well, let's talk about the Japan game first, and then I think we can have probably like a player pool conversation because there after the Japan game,
and we've kind of alluded to that player pool a little bit, and I think it's worth like not super deep diving, but kind of deep diving on it.
This is for folks, anyone listening, watching. This is mainly going to be a U.S. soccer episode, not that much MLS. Like just that's the games that have been happening, so just throwing it out there. But yeah, let's talk about the player pool after because Pochettino had some comments about what the roster is going to look like for the October camp as well.
I got to pull up his interview.
So if you want to pull up those comments, I was reading it before, but USMNT, then they went to Columbus, Ohio for a game at Lower.com Field against Japan, where they took down Japan 2-0. I don't know if that works also for Japan, but it's a pretty famous scoreline for us here. Obviously, as we have alluded to it, much better performance for the USMNT. 30th minute, Max Arfston puts in a very nice cross to Alex Dejas, and Dejas has a strong finish. I think probably about 15 yards out, puts it into the bottom corner, 1-0 USA. Second half and the US had a few more chances that I think they probably should have put away in the first half, but same for Japan. So kind of just the flow of the game there. In the second half, Japan made some subs, put on some more of their, star players. And I think, and Jason, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think I've started to apply a little bit of pressure. And the U.S. were definitely back defending for a good chunk of that beginning of the second half. And then in the 64th minute, yes, it was a fantastic finish from Florian Balogun, but Christian Pulisic kind of did this all himself almost. An unbelievable, receiving the ball, quick turn, run, setting up a very nice pass to Balogun. It was a pool assist to a Bala goal. You know what I mean? I was waiting for a non-reaction there, and then
I'm sorry. I've been trying to. I don't know.
I would have crawled into my hole. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. But either which way, Balogun scores. Balogun looked maybe like the best player across both games, so you got to give him that credit too. But like we've been talking about, the USMNT, they responded to the noise, the media, the pressure, bounced back, got a really good win. I'll give it to them against a really good Japanese side, and kind of, I think, quieted a little bit of the nerves for a little bit, but there's still obviously some long-term stuff to talk about, Jason. But just your thoughts on the Japan game before we dive into anything else.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of say what you said, like a great bounce back performance. I think it easily could have been 3-4-0 potentially. I mean, McGlynn like you said, put the ball straight through the crossbar. Pretty much.
That hit from McGlynn was insane. Like that just shows you how, I think, great his left foot is.
I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't know what to say with this team. Like it was a good performance, but I'm trying not to be like, yeah, this is a great performance.
We're back.
Yeah. Like, because realistically, there's probably going to be another bad performance before the World Cup. And there's probably going to be another great performance before the World Cup.
Yes. For sure.
And maybe that's where we're at, kind of just somewhat inconsistent, which is, I think, maybe okay in September. I don't think it will be okay in April or something.
I'll say this to that point, because I think that's a very fair point. To me, it feels like the USMNT, we're going to get these up and down games, up and down performances. And I think at this point, the best case scenario hope for Pochettino, to the fans, to everyone else in between, is kind of just like, let's just hope, we get these up and down performances, up and down runs. And by the time the World Cup's here, it's an up and everyone's kind of clicking a little bit. And there's enough time of all these guys gelling and playing together, and we do something with it.
I honestly I think it's part of the roster building, which I'm trying not to get too far ahead into our conversation, but like
dive into it.
I do think it's like they're obviously trialing players, right? Like Tristan Blackman's in these games. I think he started both of them.
Yeah. Well, and also the big, I think, difference for the Japan game that I want to talk about in terms of the roster as well is we went from a back four to a back three from South Korea to Japan. And I think that plays to our strengths a bunch. But let me just say this last piece, and then we'll
go ahead.
I think it makes the most sense. The last thing I just wanted to say was that this was Mauricio Pochettino's second win versus a top 30 ranked FIFA nation. The wins against Japan and Panama, and then we've also, in terms of facing other top 30 opposition, we've lost to Mexico twice, Panama, Canada, Turkey, Switzerland, and South Korea. So not good against the world's best at this point. But again, it was a step forward. It was a good game. It was a good performance.
Yeah.
The U.S. should try to build off of that against Ecuador and Australia in the October friendlies. But Jason, let's talk about the roster. Give me your thoughts. You've been wanting to talk about the player pool roster. Give it to me.
I mean, I think like what Poch is doing is the right thing to do, especially with not having an entire cycle with these guys. He's working as fast as he can. Like, to give, I guess, this somewhat of like the benefit of the doubt or the credit to them is like these inconsistent performances are not that surprising when we're trialing players in every camp, right? Like, there's a lot in this camp who might not be in the October camp, and some might be in the October camp.
There's going to be quite a few, I would say.
My hope is, like we're getting closer and closer to having less and less changes. I think that's definitely getting to that point, but that's why I think like the more higher level stuff from what Poch is taking away from these, the result of a loss or a win, I don't think he cares. Like I simply don't think that's what's bothering, like what he's emphasizing, because I think he's trying to figure out who works best with who. Does Tim Ream and Tristan Blackman make sense? I mean, he made a comment about Tristan Blackman and how he played well and he thought him and Tim Ream were working well together. Like, those are the things he's looking for. He's not going, oh, we lost 2-0. Like, he's going, why did we lose? And what were the good and the bad? Why didn't I think Sargent? I don't want to like talk bad about anyone, but like I think maybe Sargent in that game wasn't hooking up with Pulisic as well. I don't know.
Why did Balogun look better in the system than compared to Sargent across?
Yeah, like those types of questions are the ones that he's looking for.
Yeah,
regardless of wins and loss, and you answer those questions. Sometimes better with a loss, maybe. Like if I can say, "Oh, that's definitely not working," I think I'm probably happier with that answer in a loss than going, "This might be working, but also we just played a not as good team or something." I don't know.
Well, I will say this. There was, again, I don't have the exact quote pulled up in front of me. Sorry about it, folks. But there was definitely comments from Pochettino after this game. It might have even been the day after, where he was kind of just specifically spelling out, like, not that this was his last like trial camp of players, but that in the October camp and the November camp, that it was going to be more of kind of like what we're expecting. I think the World Cup roster to more closely resemble, right?
Yeah.
Obviously,
maybe like some fringe. Yeah,
there's always gonna be those fringe guys. There's always when the official roster gets announced next summer, there's gonna be the argument of is it Caleb Wiley at left wing back, or is it whoever? I don't know why Caleb Wiley was the first name on my brain, but there you go.
I love Caleb Wiley. Always have, man.
But still, right? Like we're gonna have those conversations throughout. But I'm excited to see what October and November's camps look like, because we're playing 4 games in the next 2 months. 3 of those games are against, like I just said before, top 30 ranked FIFA nations at this point. So it's going to be a test against some really good teams, and Paraguay is the other, and it's not like Paraguay is like a complete, rollover of a nation as well. But I think you started to see it a little bit, right? You started to see Balogun kind of cementing his spot almost as Pochettino's striker. You started to see, obviously, the effects of Christian Pulisic being in the group, and Tyler Adams being in the group. I think it's almost right, like Matt Freese kind of cementing himself at this. There's no cementing at any point, but cementing.
Well, I think goalkeeper is one of the positions I'm most like curious what happens, because it's just like it does seem like Matt Freese is in the driver's seat. But
I just look, personally, I've been over the experimental rosters for the last 2 camps. That's just my opinion, but to give Pochettino a little fairness, when you're at the point of where he came in and the time that he probably wants to see the complete player pool, yeah, he probably needed a few more experimental camps.
Yeah, I also think the U.S. player pool is not the most consistent group of players. Some camps, some players look great. Some camps, some players look horrible. Some camps, players look horrible who are absolutely killing it for their club. And sometimes players come in who you're questioning and then have great camps. So I don't know if it's the I mean, it's like what we talked about on the last pod. It's like there's a large group of players at each position that are I don't want to say like almost interchangeable, but like kind of interchangeable at some levels. And I think that's partially why it's taking extra long. It's like Pochettino is really putting in, I think, a lot of time and weight into his roster, in the roster that he wants and the guys he thinks work best together. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if players are left off the World Cup roster that are maybe having great seasons that are simply not connecting as well with the other players that he's bringing, right?
Like, I will simply, and I'm not, this isn't my judgment of any player, because I think both of these players I'm about to say are very good players. I would not be surprised that at this point, with the amount of action we've seen from these players in national team camps and games, if Damian Downs is a USMNT striker at the World Cup over Josh Sargent, over Ricardo Pepi, over...
Well, I mean, I think that's an easy position to look at, kind of, because Josh Sargent is one of those guys who's lights out at the club level. I mean, he started this season flying, and there's, for some reason, it's not translating, and I wish for him it will, and maybe it will eventually. I don't think he's out at any means.
No,
I
no,
think
I'm
we'll
not.
see him.
I'm not
No,
saying
I
this.
know. You're saying like in the final roster potentially. I'm just saying we're gonna see him more leading up to it. He's one of those players that's definitely in that conversation. But it is kind of like what performances are we getting in the U.S. shirt are the ones that really matter. I mean, we didn't even talk about Christian Roldan. I think he's one of those guys that's like he puts in good performances, and he like on the flip side, actually, with this conversation, Christian Roldan is a good example of someone who is maybe not quite as talented as, I don't know, some of our other midfield options.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when he puts on the U.S. shirt, do I have confidence that he's going to put in a good performance? Yeah, pretty much every
Christian Roldan in the game against Japan in that 3-4-3 looked unbelievable next to Tyler Adams. Like looked like a very perfect pairing next to Tyler Adams. Now I'm not saying I want Christian Roldan as my starting 8 next to Adams, but if you told me that Christian Roldan was on the October camp roster because of what he did against Korea,
I would be more surprised if he's not, to be honest.
Yeah, and that is giving him a ton of credit because of what this midfield, depth chart, quote unquote, looks like for the
People
U.S.
are not going to like this take, but if Christian Roldan continues this type of form with the U.S. and
he should be on the World Cup roster.
And people will be mad if he's on the World Cup roster and someone like McKennie's left off because of him. I'm not saying that would be the situation. I'm just simply saying that would be that people would riot. And it's one of those things that's like, it's not like, I think that puts home like what I think Pochettino is interested in. It's not necessarily the best 11. It's the right 11.
It's not the most talented 11. It's the 11 that is going to win a game for the U.S.
Yeah, it's the 11 that's going to put in the best performance. Yeah. That might not be the 11 most talented players that we have at our disposal.
And if we were any other soccering country in the world, that would be a very common belief. It's just that we're America. We see, someone playing in the Premier League, and it's like, oh, but he's better than Christian Roldan. Well, no, watch Christian Roldan play soccer and tell me that he's not of that caliber. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm very interested to see the October and November camp rosters. I'm very interested to see how we show up, if we show up against Ecuador, Australia, Paraguay, Uruguay. The question I'm gonna turn to you here, Jason, is give me as many guys as you want. I don't really care, but give me the guys like you definitely want to see come these next 4 games.
I mean, I would put Christian Roldan just because after what we said, he'd be one of them.
I'd say Roldan and, over a Berhalter, over a De La Torre, over a Zawadzki at this. I mean, Sean Zawadzki got injured in training.
I think Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic, Balogun, Chris Richards, like Tim Ream even, like people I know will be, well, I guess I don't know, but like the ones that I'm like pretty confident are making the World Cup, I want there, right?
I want to see Zendejas again.
Yeah, I want to see Jack McGlynn more.
I want to see McGlynn hit a fucking ball with his left foot. That's
definitely all Alex Freeman.
Yeah. Dest had his moments. This was his first game back.
I mean, I definitely think we need to see more Dest. Like, I think Dest is at a talent point, and I guess this is like one of I guess the other side of what we were just saying is like Dest from a talent perspective is just so good.
Well, look,
and he has put in great performances. He just tore his ACL. So
I'll let you finish this question before I dive into the next conversation. But yes, continue.
Of people not in this, I really need to start seeing Anthony Robinson.
Well, that's what I was going to dive into is obviously.
Oh, okay. So stick with people who are here? Okay.
No, we can dive into this. This is fine. This is the first international window after, the transfer window for most of the world, right? So you're always going to have those guys that weren't going to get called in because of injury, because of they're at a new club, because of whatever. So we do have a few of those names in the non-roster right now, and the Anthony Robinsons, Malik Tillmans, Weston McKennie, Eunice Musa.
I mean, Anthony Robinson didn't switch clubs or anything. He was
Well,
just coming off
he's coming off a pretty big injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's barely played for
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get it.
So I think, right? Like, it's going to be Max Arston has been Mauricio Pochettino's dude. It's going to be interesting.
I'm actually interested in continuing to see Max Arston, and I know people do not like him for some odd reason.
I'm here for it. Look, if you're telling me it's a 3-4-3, I am totally fine with Max Arston being your left wing back option.
Yeah.
I just want to see, how does Pochettino play Arston, or how many minutes does Arston get if Anthony Robinson's fully fit and available to play soccer? I would like to assume
20, maybe.
I would like to assume Anthony Robinson's the starting left back option, but who fucking knows anymore, Jason?
If Anthony Robinson's healthy, he is the starting left back option. That's not even from like that's not even okay. He's the most talented. Yeah, he also has put in the best performances.
Yes, again at the last World Cup. I mean, I think
he's one of the few players that I have like. If he's healthy, I would be pissed if he wasn't on the roster. Like there's no excuse not to have him in the team.
Yes, I look. I'm not saying he won't be. I'm just saying, we've consistently seen Arston be the dude for Pochettino. We haven't seen. I don't know if we've seen Anthony Robinson and Pochettino in quite a while now. Anthony
Robinson, Pochettino knows Anthony Robinson better than probably most of the players in.
I would assume. Yeah, I would assume.
Coached against him for years, and then. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. He definitely knows who Anthony Robinson is and what he's about.
Well, so outside of Anthony Robinson, because I think you and I could sit here and talk about how he should be immediately shoved into the left wing. I mean, well, there's a lot of conversations in my brain. Do you like the 3-4-3? Do you like that compared better to what we've seen from the 4-3-3?
I kind of do, because it's funny because I don't know if our center back pool is that great or that deep. But for some reason, in a 3-4-3, I think it benefits our wing backs, because I think we have truer wing backs than we do.
Bro, between Robinson, Arston, Dest, Freeman.
Yeah, like I think our profile of right back, left back are much better at being like pure wing backs. And I also think it works if you have Tyler Adams in the middle, and even like a Roldan, like an 8 that can really put his force in. It doesn't have to be Roldan, but like Tyler Adams almost becomes like another center back in some of those scenarios. And having 3 guys back there, one being Chris Richards, who like I have a lot of confidence in, I think helps. Even Alex Freeman on the right, he likes going forward too. Like, we don't really have very defensive backs.
No, honestly, again, I mean.
So to me, like, I think that the 3 might be the move.
Which is why I also think when we saw Nathan Harriel, like, he got a few minutes in the Japan game, like he subbed in at right center back, which we've seen him play a little center back for Philly this year. But like, it's funny how Pochettino's very much like our wing backs are attacking options. They're our creators. They're they're midfielders for every sense.
I mean, let's be real. Like, the U.S. isn't the talent of like a Spain who's tiki-taka through the midfield. Like, no, we're not the kind of team that's going to carve your midfield up in your defense and put in like a through. Like, we're the kind of team that's going to run down the wings and rip balls into the middle. Like, that's how Zendeja scored. That's how Balogun got free, or Pulisic ran down and Balogun got free for a goal. Like, I think it actually plays to our strengths a lot better. And it's more like, it's almost like we tried this beautiful total football type stuff, but like, that's not who the U.S. is. Like, that's not who. Sure, I think Pulisic in some ways can be that, but like,
we have certain players that I think can do that, but that is not the complete player pool.
No, it's not at all the player pool. And I think stick to your strengths, defend well, counterattack, play down the wings, put balls into dangerous areas. You have good, like what we're talking about, our left back and right back pool is good at doing that. Like, Dest is very good at bringing the ball down the field and cutting inside or putting himself in a threatening position and ripping the ball into the middle of the box.
Yeah.
Arfiston's pretty good at that. I think Freeman with Orlando has shown a lot of that. I even showed it in that Japan game, a lot of pushing forward. I mean, he was almost a winger in that game.
I mean, he pretty much was just on like running right behind.
Yeah, and it's partially because we played very well, but
yeah,
I just think this I don't know. It plays to our strengths a little bit more to have three at the back because it allows those guys to actually play the way that I think they want to play.
If we can keep seeing the three in the back, I'll be happy.
And if Tyler Adams is healthy, like it makes that a lot easier to do.
And even if he's not, I feel like it almost kind of helps secure the likes of whoever else is going to be in that spot, Upper Halter.
I do think I would feel much more comfortable with Adams there, healthy, because I don't know if everyone has the same in that defensive.
No,
whether has the same type of like, I'm just going to put in the challenge on a guy running down the field that Adams does.
I agree. The only question that I have with the 3-4-3 is like, I think then that forces Malik Tillman to be an out and out winger, which I don't know if I love that from Malik Tillman. Like, I don't truly think he's like this true winger, but I don't know. Then maybe it does work.
You don't think he can play centrally in that type of?
I just don't know if you're going to get the most out of Malik Tillman, this guy who, is going to press down the field. Press down the field is not the correct word.
I mean, he's the number 10 for Leverkusen?
Yeah, which is why maybe I'm saying you put him on the same side as a Dest. He can kind of cut inside. Dest is your wide man. I don't maybe hate it. I don't know if I think – and he's one player of the entire player pool, so it's also not like.
I think the two, like the defensive mid, if it's Adams, whoever's next to him is probably the hardest role to find.
I would assume it's McKennie,
and I think McKennie could play that role pretty well.
Yes, like a box-to-box 8 kind of guy.
Yeah, like we don't need a super, and this is going to sound like an insult, I guess, but it's not. Like we don't need a super creative, like. Person there in that position because if we're focusing on creating, like in this scenario, the wings are what's creating the we need someone who's willing to just like make the late run into the box but also be one of the guys defending.
I like how he said we're not a very technical podcast. We're not, and then now we're just getting into a whole tactics conversation.
I mean, I actually do enjoy having a conversation like this. Like I think
it's fair. No, it's 100% fair.
It also is so important because it's so crucial to, I think, the last, like, I don't know, I would say like decade of U.S. soccer.
Yeah.
Of how they wanted to play and how some of the coaches that came through wanted to play. I think Greg emphasized more of a, less crossing, it seemed like, more playing through the middle, maybe playing through Pulisic as a number 10 or something. But in reality, like it makes way more sense not to do that. Like just play to your strengths. Not every team has to be Spain or, I don't know,
Argentina.
Yeah,
Brazil. Got you. Naming good soccer countries. Yeah. No. I mean, I look. I fully agree with you.
It doesn't need a goalie that has to have some crazy distribution. Like.
Yeah, we don't need Manuel Neuer back there. Just like.
I was going to say Sean Johnson. He's a great distributor, man.
Yes, you're not wrong. With the remaining time we have left, the little bit we have left, let's run through some MLS stuff. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. The U.S. Open Cup does continue. That's a thing, folks. The U.S. Open Cup continues next week. We have Nashville SC hosting the Philadelphia Union on Tuesday, September 16th, and Minnesota United hosting Austin SC on Wednesday, September 17th. Jason, we're most likely not going to have an episode out, but we're definitely not going to have an episode out before that. Do you want to just throw out some fun picks for those two games?
That Eastern Conference one is spicy. That's a good game. I'm going to pick Minnesota versus Nashville.
I'm going to go Minnesota, Philly. And for those who don't remember, because I had to look it up myself, I picked Minnesota to win the U.S. Open Cup. So I'm going Loons all the way.
Wow, what?
Loons all the way on this.
You did. Man, I hope you don't win that. That's a bad look.
All right.
Wow, you already read it out, Elijah Winder as Young Player of the Year.
Sorry, Elijah Winder. Apologies about that.
And Latte Lop and Yaboa. They might have crazy runs.
You don't know.
Oh, my God. My Timo Bumgard. One of the worst picks I think I've ever made.
That when you said, I remember you saying it.
I remember it, too. Oh, no, my Coach of the Year pick might be spicy.
You might get it. You might get it. We'll get to it.
Actually, I really like my other 4 picks. Those are great picks.
We'll get to our preseason.
Sorry, listeners.
In a few weeks.
Have no idea what we're talking about.
Canadian Championship also continues on next week. We have the second legs of the semifinals. Vancouver Whitecaps hosting Forge FC on Tuesday, September 16th. The first leg ended 2-2. This game, like I said, is in Vancouver, is at BC Place. And then the other semifinal, Ottawa Fury hosting Vancouver FC on Wednesday, the 17th. Leg 1 ended with Vancouver with a 3-1 win on the road. I mean, can I just simply say for us, I think you said it when we talked about this a few episodes ago, just get the Vancouver derby, Vancouver FC, Vancouver Whitecaps. I mean,
yeah. I think everybody wants that. Everybody in the world.
Everyone who wants the Vancouver derby.
Yes, everybody wants it. Tell me I'm wrong.
There is a chance, though. Like, if the Whitecaps, they're tied 2-2. And Forge is not a bad team. There's a chance that there's no MLS team in the Canadian Championship final.
Which would also be very interesting. I hope Vancouver wins. So
yes. I know. I fully agree. I want to see them win. I want to see them
I also picked Vancouver in that tournament. So as I do every year, it's my staple.
And I just try to rotate between Montreal and Toronto to see.
Yeah, you just hope to get lucky. I just hope to be consistent and get one win on the year.
Some other MLS news. We do have teams secured playoff spots. Philly Union, San Diego FC, Minnesota United have all secured MLS Cup playoff spots so far, and 2 eliminated teams from the playoffs: CF Montreal, DC United. Jason, any comments on any 5 of those teams? It's okay if you don't.
Not really. I mean, I think it's fun that the 2 teams eliminated are in the East because it just reiterates how tough the East is.
How strong the East is, and you're still sitting at the bottom of the West, technically in playoff contention.
Yeah.
On
less points.
Yeah, literally. Want to run through the signings are drying up, folks, so we will talk about less signings every single week, but I just feel like we have to mention a few of these. LAFC, they did lose defensive midfielder Igor Jesus for the rest of the 2025 season. He tore his ACL 2 match days ago against FC Dallas. So they went out and they signed free agent D-mid Hylison. I'm going to go with via free agency. He played last season in La Liga for Celta de Vigo. He played 13 games last season for them. 29-year-old, typical LAFC, just kind of getting a rental player for the rest of the year and hope it works.
It's kind of a good profile for a free rental, though.
They always find it.
Why is he not on a team? What's going on?
Remember Marlon, the center back that they had?
Whoever's scouting for them is doing a good job.
Yeah, I mean, LAFC, another one of those clubs that just does it right.
That we like to talk about.
Probably the 2 biggest moves, right, outside of that, Inter Miami, they've loaned Benjamin Cremaschi to Serie A club Parma, I think until next summer. Obviously, the 20-year-old kind of fell out of favor, I will say, I guess.
Weirdly, another sketchy one in Miami.
Yeah. I mean, again, don't like the Americans. It's fine. I get it, Javier Mascherano. I get it, Jorge Mas.
He's a good player, and he was good for them.
Yeah, so he is the Supporter Shield winner, League Cup winner at 20 years old, is going to go play in the Serie A. 1 goal, 2 assists for Miami. I mean, it's not the biggest hit to them on the field because he really wasn't getting
play on the field.
Yeah, wasn't getting that many minutes, but I'm excited to see him get a move, and who knows, maybe he blows up in this area and he gets into Pochettino's conversation that we can have.
Yeah, let's add more.
Let's just add more people, right? The other one, Orlando City, they've sold U22 initiative striker Ramiro Enrique to Saudi Arabian club Al Khaloud for, I think it was, the actual number came out from Tom Boger. It was like 3.3 million or something to that extent. But 24 years old, I don't think when they signed him, it was ever like this dude's going to be a multi-million-dollar sale, but it worked out for them. He had 10 goals this season in 31 games.
Well, sometimes you just have to sell to Saudi and make money.
I mean, that also
because you know they're going to overpay.
But look, I mean, Duncan McGuire back healthy. Luis Muriel kind of has bounced back into from what he looked like he was initially going to be. And Orlando City made a profit on an Argentine striker. So good for them. That's all I got on that. Anything you want to add about any of these moves, Jason?
No.
All right. That's totally fine. There was obviously a bunch of other moves, loan terminations, and a few other signings. We're not going to dive really too much into that just because of time.
We actually nailed the timing on this podcast.
I mean, we're pretty good.
This might be the best we've ever done.
I'm probably going to ruin it, though, because I just want to mention one player, if that's okay.
No, go for it.
We had obviously a weird match day. There was 4 games last weekend because of the international break, and MLS likes to play catch-up games in these breaks. But St. Louis City, FC Dallas, the result doesn't the result matters. Good for both of you, whatever. But the goalkeeper situation in this game was unbelievable. Dallas goalkeeper Michael Collodi received a red card in the 16th minute. Jacob Jackson, who's their third goalkeeper, who they acquired from San Diego FC earlier in the summer, subs into the game because Martin Pass is out on international duty. Subs into the game. He plays 71 minutes, has 11 saves. St. Louis had 42 shots in this game.
An insane number of shots.
Like, just shout out Jacob Jackson for 11 saves in 71 minutes, 42 shots. Like, Jacob Jackson earned FC Dallas a point. I just had to give, for a weird ass match day, match week, whatever, I had to give Jacob Jackson the love that he deserves on this podcast. So I don't know if there's anything else about the match day you want to bring up, Jason. That's fine, but I had to give him the love because
the Fire won, and it was the least stressful Fire win. Just kidding. That's a joke. It was
Andre Franco 2 assists. That's big.
Great start. Zinkernagel just, I mean, put him in the, I don't know, Hall of Fame. Put this guy.
Mount Rushmore of Chicago Fire players.
Look, the Fire need every win they can get right now. Like,
they are
your team, my team, and in the Rebels. It is tight trying to stay into those playing games.
How about between the Columbus Crew as well? It's not like they're fucking picking up
many points. And if you guys win, you jump them and you have a game.
Yeah, you keep on saying it's looking like a MLS Aces derby in the playing game. I think we're going to jump the Crew. That's all I got.
We might jump you. I'm just kidding.
You could. Honestly. Fuck it. Who knows?
You got to win this game in hand.
We do. We
you have it on us and Columbus.
A result is big for New York City.
Actually, and on Orlando. You could go all the way up to 5th. I mean, Miami's probably going to win.
There was a point where New York City could have been up in like 3rd place in like 2 weeks ago, and they lost. I think it was
Can we be honest? If New York City gets to like 5th, those teams are tanking for 4th.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's the easier game.
I don't mean it in a super mean way. I just mean it in a genuine way.
No one will take it super mean. Don't worry. Don't you worry. I guess, fuck it while we're at it. Galaxy got a stoppage time goal from Lucas Sanabria, 90+9. Houston shit that one late. And then
Houston's been doing that this year, man. Like, Ben Olsen, come on. Like, I know you want to make the playoffs. Why are you guys trying not to?
Yeah, I think I'm handing in my Houston card at this point of the year. Sporting Kansas City, Austin FC. Austin get all 3 points on the road. Owen Wolf, goal and assist. Owen Wolf quietly leading Austin FC to a pretty high playoff spot for them in the Western Conference.
I mean, it's a full playoff spot. It's solid. I mean, it's crazy to me that the Western Conference has 3 teams with negative goal differential in the playoffs.
Yeah, I fully agree. And Dejan Joveljic, 17th goal of the year out in Sporting Kansas City. I wouldn't have assumed that to start the season.
And he stayed in LA. What is the season that they have? I'm curious, man.
If MLS roster rules weren't what they were, then maybe they could have kept them, but it is what it is. All right, Jason, give me your game of the weekend and let's get out of here.
It's all Saturday. Is it all Saturday for a reason?
All Saturday games, no Sunday games, which is kind of disappointing, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I like Sunday nights.
I like the little.
Maybe is it because of football?
Maybe their MLS is like, yeah, we're done, boys. This Sunday night soccer's gone because
Sunday night soccer was fun though. Give me Taylor Twellman. Like, what game is Taylor Twellman going on?
It's probably there's a lot of.
You were about to leak the hit. No, actually, there's some good ones.
There's like a million good games.
This might be one of the better weekends of games. Okay, let's. We're going top 3, okay?
Let's just give me your top 3.
Charlotte versus Miami. That's your morning game. Not morning, obviously.
Your 9 a.m. game.
Yeah, that's your morning game. Put that on. Have some coffee.
Yeah, watch the Premier League.
Yeah, or 7:30 p.m. at Eastern time.
So Charlotte.
Oh my God! Since he plays Nashville too.
You just named another. Okay.
Oh, but that wasn't gonna be my other.
Nope, that's fine. Now you got to keep it moving.
Chicago versus NYCFC has huge implications.
Big MLS Aces derby.
And it's a derby, yeah. And then, San Diego versus Minnesota.
That's fair. The only other one I would have thrown in there is Vancouver Whitecaps versus Philadelphia Union.
Oh, another great one. Yeah.
There is 5 high quality games this weekend. And a few others that I would definitely say, like, of interest, throw in, definitely watch, enjoy, have fun.
Portland versus and Red Bulls is probably a decent one to throw
That's probably would be the next one if I had to pick, but we can only pick so many. We just picked half the match.
Everyone go out and buy like 3. You know how they do that for the Super Bowl? People like rent TVs from Best Buy and then return them. Do that for this weekend.
You know what? Don't listen to Jason. This is 2025. You have phones. You have iPads. You don't need to go rent a TV.
What do you mean? Don't listen to me.
Jason, thank you, buddy. We went 7 minutes over, so not too bad.
Killed it.
Listeners, viewers, thank you guys. Subscribe, rate, review, whatever you got to do. We appreciate it. It helps us out more than you guys probably even think of clicking on a button. So if you can do that, much appreciated. If not, all good. I'll ask you again next week. Jason, I will talk to you next week. Enjoy some MLS, and we will talk to you guys soon.